why was it shut?
Right? No, you didn't.
I did, honestly. Honest to God, on my mum's life. I said, why was it shut? She said,
Hold on, why did you butt in?
Honestly, I know, it's really, really weird. It's really
did you have
weird.
to shout across the dentist waiting room? Or
No, it's a small waiting room, so you got the stairs, you go and you've got about 4 chairs, and then this old desk, and I get on with the woman behind the counter, and I always sit close to it, and it was just me there, and I was talking to her about going to Bison, the stairs, and she's there, and because she was showing off, it was like, well, you should have done it a long time ago. I think she annoyed me that she wanted some sort of pat on a big hefty fat back. That she hadn't bothered having a donut that day. Now, maybe it's the inner me that just came out, because I remember saying it and actually getting home saying to Suzanne, I said this and I didn't even think I don't know
what you mean though. Sometimes you want to go around with people and they're going, you want to put them down. You want to go, I'm stocking out with you because you're going to go straight back to that and do this, that. You know, I know you've had a lot. Just inject them in the head. Absolutely pointless. Get rid of it. Yeah, I know what you mean. But talking about social etiquette, I was in flying to Edinburgh, and I was with Matt, my assistant, and there was a bloke on a mobile phone across the way. Right, he's going, yeah, I'm just going to get on a plane now, and he kept talking that loudly to people, right? And I was fuming. Then he stopped and made another call. And I was giving him dirty looks, and Matt was going, no, sit down, son. And then he was going, in the airport, and I shouted, he's in the airport. He didn't notice. I was shouting over. I was fuming, and Matt was just getting so embarrassed.
But they don't see it though.
And people were looking at me like I was the mental case.
Yeah.
But it was so fucking loud, and I moved through to another place. But I wanted to get someone. I wanted to be policed. I want to go, right, there's a cunt over there swigging beer, thinks he's a fucking Gordon Gekko player, and he's not. He's some cunt who's got his first mobile phone. Right? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is infringing. That's like passive smoking to me.
Yeah.
It annoys me when you hear these awful middle-class parents talking to their kid loudly enough to let everyone know what their kid knows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They bring up conversations because they're showing off about the kid. Toby, what's that you were saying earlier about you preferred Beethoven to... Right, okay, if that kid talks about Beethoven and Chopin, right? Do you know what I mean, though? Yeah. It's like people showing off, thinking that the world is interested in everything they fucking say. That thing about everyone's got access, which is fine, but it's those fat fucking morons on docu-soaps that go, I speak as I fucking think, you useless fucking blob of shit.
Yes. Have an education, research, think, discuss, then offer your opinion.
And stop your kids chewing on a fucking big ball of fat. Your leg.
Got someone specific in mind there?
Well, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the Ricky Gervais Guide to Society. I think we've sorted everything out there, Steve.
Yeah, not many questions left unanswered.
No, that's a pretty in-depth analysis of what society is and how to improve it, I think, in many ways.
Let's hope some of the big people are listening, Brown, Obama.
And they go, okay, what's Pilton got to say? Keep out of it. Unless it's an insect. So it's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Goodbye.
And from the little round-headed simian type thing we call Carl Pilkington. The next audiobook in this series is the Ricky Gervais Guide to Law and Order, and that will be available from the 1st of December. Easy date to remember, World AIDS Day. I knew it wouldn't take off like Christmas.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Hello and welcome to this free teaser podcast to promote the upcoming audiobook, the Ricky Gervais Guide to Law and Order. Packed full of interesting stuff. One big obvious thing we didn't do is discuss those sort of weird, foreign, unrepealed laws. I suppose it's sort of like a DJ staple thing to do.
But some of them are fascinating, and I was looking online to see if any of them were actually verifiable, because often you think they're sort of archaic laws that don't exist anymore.
Well, some of them probably they were laws, but they don't count anymore anyway. They're funny because they were made 200 years ago, like you've got to practice archery if you're over 14 for an hour a day, and that is funny.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's a law that's around today that you could find a loophole in. It's like,
Although they haven't been repealed, haven't they? Isn't that
well,
the
they
point?
haven't been
So
repealed because
theoretically
there's no point. But but
isn't there something about you're allowed to shoot a Welshman with a bow and arrow in the city of Chester or somewhere between the hours of 5
I
and
really
10?
wouldn't advise it. I think that
Well, it's law. It's law.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't take that. Yeah,
it's law.
yeah. Okay, okay.
The one that I found that it has been verified, which I think is quite extraordinary. I just want you to think, Rick, about the practicalities involved in this. In Bahrain, a male doctor may legally examine a woman's genitals, but is forbidden from looking directly at them during the examination. He may only see their reflection in a mirror.
That's like viewing an eclipse.
Yeah, or the Medusa.
It's not for his own safety. I assume it's for decency, is it?
But well, I guess it is. It's obviously something, as you say, to do. But what I find confusing is you'd have to hold the mirror. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to say trim the back of your head, like if you've got a bit of loose stray hair in the back of your hair.
It's all
back of your head.
backwards,
It's quite
isn't
tricky.
it?
It's very difficult backwards.
Yeah.
You've got to work backwards. Trying to use scissors backwards is very strange. That must be very awkward.
Also,
there.
it must be. He must go. You've got a very small vagina. She go, no, it's twice as far away. Because of course, yeah. I just move the mirror closer. Well, no, you can't get your head in the way. You need to.
Does he have to hold them? Does he have an assistant to hold the mirror? She can see her genitals and his face.
Depends what angle it's at. Maybe she gets a glimpse of him and he looks up at her and it's an awkward moment. And he goes, sorry about that. He goes, yeah, I caught you. I was looking at your vagina through. No. I know you were looking at the vagina, but you looked at me, which was a little bit awkward. Why were you looking at my face? Sometimes I like to connect the face to the vagina on which I'm working.
I'm often, otherwise it's just a disembodied vagina that can be quite
Right.
scary if you're looking at it for a long time. It
Just
can
look at the vagina.
Well, it can just start
Okay,
to
not
look-
directly. Just look in the. No, is that a shaving mirror? Because it looks very large now. Yeah, it is. Because it helps.
It's got two sides to it. One side
Look
makes
in
it.
the-
Whoa, that's
No,
that's
look
like
in the
something
smaller
from Star
one.
Wars.
Look in the smaller one.
That's creepy.
Turn it round. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
He's
very
allowed
much.
to look. He can look round boobs,
Yeah.
face,
Yeah.
everything.
I'm gonna get vagina now. We'll get the mirror then. That's the mirror. There's an example of some of the drivel that you might hear, but here's an actual clip from the show. Enjoy. Carl, have you ever been conned?
There's always someone doing well out of me. There's always someone, if they're a little bit short, we'll go round to Pilkington.
But I mean,
Rip 'em
3 or 4 times a day. Sometimes I call him up and he goes, right, the washing machine's broken, they came round, they've done this, right, they couldn't fix it, but they would call it charged 90 quid. I called the bank and said, no, they can't do that. Turns out they can't do it. It's like a string of things where it looks like Carl's handing out money, like the end of a comic book. He goes, that's for the broken window, and there's for my sausages. It's like a queue of people just taking money off Carl.
I don't know, they're normally alright if I'm face to face with them.
Really?
Yeah, if I can sort of, if I can go in a place, but a lot of stuff now is done on the phone.
Yeah.
It's all phone, isn't it? Because it's all over the world where you're speaking to these people.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about the alarm system, right, in the flat. Called them up, thought, oh, it'd be good to get this going again. Have an alarm system, I haven't had one for years. Might as well use it, it's there. So I called them up and said, there's an alarm system in this flat I've bought. I want to get it going again. What's the situation? So they took a load of details and stuff, and they said, right, what you have to do, it's 400 quid a year. I said, what? So 400 quid a year. I said, what's that for? He said, if the alarm goes off, we can guarantee that a couple will be there in like a minute and a half. I said, I don't want that. I said, I'm just happy with the alarm just going off. I'll give the keys to the neighbour. No, you can't do that. You've got to have this way. I said, 400. I said, I thought alarms are meant to stop you being robbed. Did you what, sir? I don't understand sarcasm when you're talking to them people.
Yeah, just to get out your system when you know you've been conned, you just laugh in the face of adversity. I remember it was a couple of days before Christmas. I was going away, but I had a dripping tap and it started dripping more. So there was nothing I could do. The maintenance people were away, the caretakers were. I couldn't get in, and so I called out an emergency plumber. I knew this was going to cost, but bloke came round. Honestly, he made you look smart. He was like one of those kids who looked like a lumpy child. He was probably 20, but he just looked like, you know what I mean, they'd scaled up a sort of 13-year-old big-faced lad, right? And he came in, and he didn't know how to stop it. He couldn't unscrew it. He went, I don't know what to do. I called my brother. He's there. Just I said, Bob, what can I do? He said, you could crush the pipe and then get it cut and fixed when you go. I said, great idea. So I said to the plumber, I said, can we crush the pipe? Oh yeah, I'll go and get a tool. We went down the van, came up with this thing, like a fat sort of little pair of pliers. He wasn't strong enough. So I went, I had to go. I said, well, how do we both do it? So we both put our hands on it, and we managed to crush the pipe, flatten the pipe, cut it off. He put a little thing on the end of it so it wouldn't leak, right? I went, great. I said, how much is that? He went, 180 quid. So I went, right, okay. So I wrote him out a cheque for 180 quid, and I thought I'll have a little bit of sarcasm. So it wasn't his idea. I helped him do it. I went, how much was that tool? He went, about £5. I went, that's paid for itself, isn't it? Silence. He went, yep, just nothing, tough crowd,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Right. So I signed the cheque. Like, he went, oh, he said, I forgot to charge you for the little washer on the end. I went, how much is that? He went, £2.50. I went, can I give you that in cash? He went, yeah. I went, there you go, there's the £2.50 for the washer on the end, and there's the £180. And he went, and that was it. I didn't even get a little chuckle. He didn't even think. He should have gone, well, let's split that, because we both did that. Yeah, that's 90 quid each. I go, okay, that's brilliant, mate, cheers. It was a Christmas bonus. Well, we hope that little clip has enticed you to buy the entire show, which is available from the 1st of December. That's the Ricky Gervais Guide to Law and Order.
This is Audible.
Aristotle once observed, law is order, and good law is good order. A seemingly simple concept, but the realities of making those good laws and enforcing them have troubled society since time immemorial. From community service to capital punishment, everyone has a view on how we protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Is one man's law another man's tyranny? Is justice available to all? Does prison work? Should we lock up lawbreakers and throw away the key, or does that fail to address the root causes of crime? To discuss these questions and more, I'm joined by Stephen Merchant, award-winning writer and graduate of the University of Warwick. Hello. And Carl Pilkington. Look at that fucking head.
Right.
So, Carl, law and order.
Not that interested in it, to be honest.
What do you mean?
I've got no interest in law and order whatsoever. It's not part of my life. That's the problem. You keep picking topics that don't buzz me.
Of course they do.
They don't.
Well, let's talk about this.
You're a man quite obsessed with law and order.
Based on what?
Well, law and order is basically to protect the innocent, isn't it? I mean, when we think of law and order, we usually think of crime and punishment, but it's all about protect our person. We have the right to walk the streets without getting mugged. When someone wrongs us, we want justice. It's fundamental. And you do. You were sitting in your old flat in London, phoning me every day that you wanted to go downstairs and smack their heads in for being late and shouting around and being drunk, and you could hear it. You wanted some justice.
Yeah, but nothing would have happened if they called someone up and said there's people doing noise pollution. Even though there's a law for noise pollution now, it's not really taken seriously, is it? Well,
but you are concerned with law and order.
No,
you
but
wanted your
point.
rights, and you ended up moving. He's moved in now. He's moved to lovely sunny Hampstead, just down the road from us.
Move because of some noisy people.
No, you shouldn't. But I'm saying you were
No one
stressed,
cares though.
and you wanted justice, but you thought you couldn't get justice, so you moved away.
Yeah, so I dealt with it in my way.
Yeah,
I hated them.
Right.
Because they didn't care about anyone else.
Exactly.
But the police wouldn't get involved. There's other people who live around there who had to put up with it. No one cared.
So what did it feel like every night when you were trying to watch telly, and it's hot and you got the window open, or?
No, you could just hear stuff, and it's that thing of you get a lot of tourists in London, so they're talking. It's not even as if you can listen in to what they're saying and have a view on their opinion because they follow.
Would that be entertaining for you?
Well, yeah, because if you can hear what people are saying, you go, oh, yeah, that's a
Switch the
good point.
telly off.
There's some
I
sort
don't
of-
want to hear anyone talking. I'll tell you what, really feel sorry for people with like neighbours from hell. Because it's, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's justified, but I can see why people go mental with someone when they're bullied or, you know, constantly harassed and no one cares. And when you can't go to the police, you can't go to the police and go, there's a bloke next door, he's got his television loud, he's always pissed, he's shouting about, if you don't do something, I'm going to go around there and crack his head in. You'll be the one that...
But isn't it your own fault for living in central London?
Well, not really, because it wasn't always like that. I'd been there years, and then all of a sudden, you know, good fellas turn up. They sat down there making a racket. What can you say to them? You call down, they can't hear the phone ringing.
Could I just say that Goodfellas wasn't a pizza joint? He
No.
called the loud people that because he thought they were gangsters.
Right,
so they
sure.
did what they wanted and sat outside and...
Yeah.
So, but it's louder, I think it is louder abroad than it is here. Whenever I go away on holiday, I always notice that it's always a couple of decibels higher.
Really?
Always. Like the sound of bird noises and that are louder abroad. Because they're trying to get a nut above the noise of the noisy people.
No, that's not true.
They are. When I was in, where was I? Menorca or something. It was like lying there. If it wasn't a noisy local, it was the people in the villa next door. If it's not them, they suddenly collected the bottles from the bottle bank. That's a nice noise when you're just relaxing. The bottle bank. Just pop that there where the villa is. So that was a racket. There was always there was just so much noise.
Animals, creatures...
You can't escape it. It's the one thing you can't escape, noise. Your ears never turn off.
No.
They're always there.
But I've told you before, wear earplugs if you have
I
to.
don't like
But he
it.
doesn't like... He says he can hear the sound of his own art.
Well, there's always a sound. Like your eyes, you can close them. My eyes close all the time, and if I don't like the look of something,
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
if I don't like the look of something, they close before even I've thought about if I want to see it or not.
What do you
Stay
think?
ahead.
What do you think exactly?
I just mean if I see something on the telly or like one of those casualty programs or something,
Yeah.
it's like my eyes know that I'm not going to like the look of it.
But no.
So they close
no,
quicker.
no.
My ears, they seem to be interested in everything. Even though I'm not.
What it is, you can't close your ears.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't.
what I'm saying.
Exactly, yeah. You can't. You can never.
So that's
no,
why
I like the idea that your eyes are closing when you... I was watching that.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
have your eyes ever closed something that you're going to do?
No, they normally get it right.
Your eyes aren't
They
making
normally
any
get it
decisions. You're making decisions. You turn away because you don't like seeing something. You don't turn away and then you're going, what was that? And your eyes going, you don't want to know. You do not know. You don't want to know,
I'm just
Carl.
saying anyway.
Lovely pair of tits here.
I just mean noise pollution. It's the one thing you can't escape.
It seems to me from what you've said so far is that these things happen to you and you feel wronged, but you either want to close your eyes and ears so you can't tell it's happening but it's carrying on, or move away from it so you're not a victim anymore but it's carrying on. But the thing about law and order is you don't have to take it, you don't have to walk away, you can do something about it, you can combat being wronged. And I suppose we associate that with justice. It's not just punishment or retribution, it's justice. You want to know that you're valued.
You know, this is a big issue, isn't it, Rick? Is one life more important than another? If you've transgressed in a terrible way, you've murdered, raped, whatever, and I say I'm going to put you to death because you do not belong in this society. You are too transgressive. What's to stop me? Why is that wrong? Why is that a morally wrong thing to do?
Well, this is an interesting argument, isn't it? Whether capital punishment. Now, I don't agree with execution. State execution of someone, whatever they've done, for many reasons. But the main one is, I don't think you can have a state that shows that sort of violence against an individual, whatever they've done, and expect people to accept the very code and morality of treating people equally and not showing violence towards them.
Carl, where do you stand on the tricky issue of capital punishment? You've given it some serious thought, I imagine.
So what you're asking me, like, should he be on death row?
Well, should someone flip the switch, send him to his death in the electric chair?
Yeah.
as that.
least considered.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a little bit of flicker behind the eyes. I don't know what. Well, just take us through the mental process that you arrived at the yes with there. So you know, I remember that because there was a